Hello, and a big welcome to all of you out there who are listening and seeing this podcast for today, where we have a special guest, Kristina Mazmanian-Ellis. A big welcome to you. I'm so excited to hear about your riding skills and what you're doing and everything. So please tell us a little about your life, how you are, is where you are today.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been an avid horse lover and rider and competitor since I was five. When I was 16, I had the benefit of being able to live on a horse farm and help my mom run a 32 stall facility. And I had a really nice horse that I was able to start um, giving riding lessons on. He was my show horse, but my mom's friends and family would ask me to give their child some riding lessons, and I was something that I was interested in, and I was like, sure, we'll try it and see how it goes, and it went fairly well. My background uh, at the time, I was like, I'm going to be a horse trainer, and so anything that I could ride, I rode. Anything that any new discipline I could learn, I would learn. So I've done everything from at the time was Western pleasure, and then I did hunt seat pleasure. Then I moved to everything from barrel racing and team penning and reining, just to learn as much as I could. I even did a little bit of hunter hack, which was really successful and I really enjoyed it. Um, and then as I progressed in the teaching aspect, I found myself um, having a very specific niche in teaching beginner riders, horseback, uh, like people who've never had horses before, never been around horses before, um, children, adults, many even horse owners that may have had a fall or a scary experience and lost confidence. And a lot of those they kind of gravitated towards me, and that just ended up being kind of my niche. Is that I pride myself in being very inclusive to anyone who has an interest in being around horses, learning from horses, or riding. Um, I believe that it's not my job to tell people whether they can do that or not. So if they want to learn, I'm more than happy to teach them. My youngest is 3, and
Yeah.
my oldest rider I've had was 84. So um, I have a very wide range of students, and we all connect or intersect because of our love for horses.
That's fantastic. Where are you located?
Wisconsin. So I'm in Bristol, Wisconsin, the United States.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. Do you have your own farm then, or how are you doing?
Yeah, so I actually have where I teach and train out of is a boarding facility that I have a relationship with. So like
Okay.
I've been there for it's kind of more like a partnership kind of
Yeah,
aspect.
yeah.
So we have 2 indoor arenas, an outdoor arena, and I teach all year round because the farm is heated. But on cold days like today, where it's like with the wind chill, we're in like negative 12 degrees. I kind of
Ew.
it doesn't get warm enough.
Oh, I can imagine. So, yeah, you're talking about partnership. Are you the only one who have horses there, or do your partner also have horses?
So it is a boarding facility. So there are people who own their own horses
Ah,
that that house their horses with us.
yes.
Um, And I am the only trainer at the facility that provides school horses.
Okay.
But there are people who own their own horses. The farm owner, um, they have horses of their own too, but they're not part of the lesson program or anything like that. They're just
No.
horses that live there.
Yeah. How many do you have then?
Um, I think the last that I counted, we had about 30 on the farm. As far as my school horses, I have four. So
Okay.
I have a more personalized program. So I teach, um, I'm open to, like I said, I'm very inclusive. Everyone's welcome. Um, but I also, um, kind of keep a lower number so that way I can give my students the attention that they deserve.
Mm.
And I only teach private lessons. I don't do group lessons because I like that one-on-one um,
Wow.
atmosphere.
That
Hmm.
sounds expensive, is it? Or
Yeah, well, I mean, especially on my end, because my time, I'm teaching one student per hour
yeah.
or half hour versus, a lot of
Mm.
instructors, which uh, not to say that that's anything against them to do a group lesson, but for me, I find that I teach my best. My students get the most value
Mm.
when they have my full and undivided attention. And the safety aspect of it. Like some people can do
Yeah.
great at teaching group lessons. I've never been, it's not a skill I've ever mastered, nor have I really felt a need to. So,
No, I think that the horses also should be ready for it, so to speak. It's much easier to have them one by one, as you said, in safety thinking.
yep.
But
Yep.
I can imagine they get a lot in a private lesson, and yeah, and also say that you have from 3 years to up, and do
Right. That time does look different too. So like a 3-year old student that's taking a lesson, that lesson would it's probably about 15 to 20 minutes long.
mm,
We're working more on we're being silly, right?
yes,
Attention span of a 3-year old child. But we might be silly. I play music and I let them pick like what would you like to listen to. We do more balance exercises,
mm,
um, working on like airplane arms or we do stuff like I'll call out, like airplane, forward circle, forward arm circles, backward circles, um, twist. So then they're putting, one hand up towards their ears, the other one towards their tail. We do zombie arms. I mean, like hands in front. So I mean, they all exercises that all of my students know how to do, but a 3-year old can have more of a childlike energy from me. The words are more geared for children. Um, I may say, for 2 points, I'll tell them, like the saddle's lava, don't sit, like, whereas a teenager, they would look at me like I was like this weird adult, and then, some of my adults, sometimes they get a kick out of sometimes because I teach so many different children. So the ratio is about half and half, but as far as sometimes I kind of flip. So I'll, like when I'm teaching a child to sit the trot, for example, and I'm like, well, pretend that you're the tortilla chip and the horse is the salsa, like, and we're not dipping our chip in the salsa, we're going to scoop it, So sometimes I'll be like, scoop the cheese or scoop the salsa. And sometimes I say that on accident to the adults and then they get a kick out of it and we laugh about it. But that's not
what
how I teach the adults, but it's
what are the horses saying about it? I mean, it would be a lot of movement on the back.
they are. amazing. So my school horses are all Mustangs. So that was
Okay.
actually probably something that I probably should have brought up to in the beginning. So I am participated in numerous Mustang makeover challenges.
Yes.
And so I'm very passionate about Mustangs and finding them homes. The first Mustang I ever trained, I competed in the Midwest Mustang Makeover Challenge in 2009. She was by far the most difficult horse and challenge that I've ever faced as an equestrian, period.
Mm.
And she turned 19 this year. And so I've had her for a long time. Um, and so she's always been a challenge for me. She's challenging for my adult students in the fact that if you don't ask her 100% correctly, you
Mm.
don't get the response that you're looking for, which makes her a great school horse. But
Yeah, really.
she's also very, very safe because like all I have to do is whistle to her and she will halt. So like if a student isn't asking for a half halt properly or they're not asking for a complete halt, she's not going to stop. They have no brakes, but I have brakes because all I have to do is whistle and she'll stop. So she's pretty good about that. Um, she is a spicy redheaded mare, like
Yeah.
she does have opinions. And again, I definitely believe that having that, perfect horse or that dead broke horse is not an ideal school horse because
Oh.
it's not really teaching the student truly how to ride. It's teaching them how to sit up on a horse and move with the horse. True.
Mm.
But like what do you do in life when you're working with somebody else and you have a different opinion? You got to compromise. And horses help us
Yep.
learn those skills.
Be a better human
Yes.
and listen. Yes. Mm.
And I have all mares. Well, I take that back. I have three mares and a gelding. And um, but the mares, they're opinionated. They have things to say, and they teach
Mm.
us. They really do teach us how to. Okay, how I just said this or how I communicated this was probably not clear. How else can I say this in a different way to get the point across what I'm wanting?
Mm.
They're very good teachers. The more advanced students, they are challenging for them. But I'll tell you what, if I put a child on one of them, they are the best mothers. They really are. They just the best babysitters. Like their walk gets smaller. Like it's really, really interesting. It's very unique and it's
Mm.
really fun to watch the
Yeah.
interaction with. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I'm just talked with another girl who had took in Mustangs as well, and she was talking about these competitions to take in a Mustang and get a riding horse out of it. And it's a uh, long way to go with a horse. But I think that you get a really good horse because you get to know them really and all these things.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Mm. So are you thinking about taking more Mustangs in, or is it you have
Mhm.
what you needed right now?
Yeah. So it's for me adopting more horses right now. Not currently. I don't have
Okay.
plans for it, but I also have a very unique theory that the right horse will always fall in your lap. So there have been times I haven't been looking and I end up with a horse. So
Yeah.
that does happen. That does happen, absolutely. But as far as my effort to help Mustangs has kind of shifted. So from doing Mustang makeover challenges, which include 90 to 100 days of,
Mm,
like gentle and then train and then get them as far as you can before they get adopted. Um, or even they had a tip training program where it's like someone could come to me and say, I want to adopt a Mustang. and then they pay adoption fee, and then the Bureau of Land Management would pay me to gentle that horse for them. What I'm finding and what I'm seeing is that there's a lot of Mustangs that are ending up in the slaughter pipeline,
Mm.
or in kill pens, and they've never been touched. They've not been gentled. They're wild, but they're titled. So, which means that they're no longer owned by the government, or federally protected. And so my focus has kind of turned into help. I see that horse in online, and I help share the post, and I help try and find somebody who will take in that horse.
Mm.
I've had some clients of mine that have went and adopted their own, like they saw this beautiful horse in a kill pen and went and adopted it. So, and essentially saved it from slaughter. So,
Mm.
that's kind of where my focus is leaning towards, in addition to, of course, still teaching um, my students.
Yeah. How many students do you have a day?
So I don't, so during the week, I will have anywhere to 3 to 4 lessons per day.
Mm-hmm.
So Monday through Thursday. Fridays I can have anywhere from, it all depends, because I have some students that ride every week, some that ride every other week, some that ride once a month.
Okay.
But on an average Friday, I'll have anywhere from between 4 and 6 lessons. And then on the weekends, Saturdays and Sundays are a busy day. So I'm usually there a good 7 to 8 hours a day
Mm-hmm.
on the weekend.
So you are there every day.
Yep. Pretty much. Pretty much.
Mm. That's a lifestyle for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, and if people wants to uh, go and ride with you, or have a lesson, do you have space for more, or is it filled up mostly?
Um, I do. So, right. Okay. So it's very rare that I have availability, like openings. I do have a wait list. Usually in the summer, I get a lot busier. Here in Wisconsin, our winters can be touch and go.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I do um, tend to have, you know, mm, anywhere from like a handful of openings, maybe like 3 or 4 openings in the week or in the weekend, depending on the season and the time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So I have availability right now.
Okay, okay. Are you the only one in the area, or are there other riding schools near?
So the area that I'm in is heavily horse country.
Hmm.
Even though we're outside of Kenosha, which is a very city um, atmosphere. But out here in the Bristol area, Kenosha County itself is fairly horse um, heavy. Um, I there is another school that's on the other side of Bristol, and they do have school horses, and they teach lessons as well. They do teach group. I think they're more group versus private, but
Hmm.
I don't want to 100% say that that is accurate information. But I do know they teach group lessons,
Hmm.
um, and yes. So there at least is one other that has school horses. I'm not sure 100% the different disciplines that they teach and what their program looks like. But I know as far as like in my immediate area, I am the only one that teaches and has school horses available.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good position. You want to be filled up with customers
Mhm.
and all that.
Yeah.
And how do you keep your horses? I'm from Europe, and there's a bit of difference there. We have mostly our horses in boxes, and they come out every day, of course. But how do you keep your horses?
The same. So they come in at night in their stalls overnight, and then they go out pretty much all day long. They go out the minute
Okay,
the sun goes up in the
yeah,
morning, and they come in before it gets dark. hmm
that's a good horse life, I'm sure.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Mm,
That's a very important, especially when I'm teaching many different ages and different levels of riding. And it does, even if we're not doing a strenuous lesson, even those, you know, I call them tiny tot lessons, but like those 3-year-old riders, like it does take a mental, it takes up some mental energy
mm,
for the horses
yeah.
to be able to, um, you know, you know, like they're on alert, they're cautious, they're quiet, they're
Mm,
kind to my riders, all of my riders, but with the little ones, they're just really good babysitters. And so like I'm very cautious about how I schedule my day. I wouldn't schedule a bunch of beginner lessons all at once, and I don't schedule advanced lessons all together either. So, like
no,
on a typical day, like those 8-hour days, um, I mean, I use at least each of them once or
mm,
twice, um, but I rotate. So I definitely rotate in between lessons, and then I also rotate based on the ability of the rider to make sure that my horses aren't mentally, you know, they're not physically or mentally getting overworked
no.
in any day. And then there's always the one that has the day off. So
Yeah, it's important because it's your tools, and you have to keep them in a good shape always.
well, and
Mm.
I see them more as my partners.
Yes,
Um, so you know, like you know, the time that I need, and every now and then I find myself where I'm like, oh, I have a day off. That doesn't ever happen, but you know, like I view it as their day off too. So
yeah. And where can people find you if they wanted to take a lesson from you? Do you have Facebook page or homepage or something like that?
everything. So if you look up KME Equestrian on Google, it'll take you to my website. You'll probably find my Facebook, my Instagram, my TikTok. I'm very heavy in social media. But my email is kmequestrian.com.
Okay. How do you get time for all that?
People ask me that all the time, and I'm like, how do you not have time for all of that? But I think it's all about time management.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
yeah.
Okay, it was very exciting to hear about your uh, riding school, or what you call it, because it's not actually a riding school, I think, but private lessons. So I really enjoyed to meeting you and hear about your uh, yeah, your things.
Refer to it as it's more of a writing program
Yeah,
versus a writing.
okay, yeah. Thank you very much for coming here today. Has been a pleasure, and always nice to learn a little more about other countries and so on. So thank you so much to you, Kristina, and thank you to you out there who have been listening and seeing this. So thank you for today, and please subscribe because it's helping me to continue this work and meet another special person next week. Thank you.